Shashwath and I had this ongoing thing, right? In the previous job, he tried to do everything, get away with doing everything on a CPU. I'm just like, why? Just put it on a GPU, it'll run faster.
We are all basically computer vision people, so we said we'll make vision hardware, we'll make radar, we'll make cameras, we'll make scientific instruments, those kind of things. And we started looking for a series of processors which we could use to do these things. Problem is either they're expensive, or if they're not expensive, they don't meet the requirements, or if they're not expensive and they meet the requirements, they're not available.
The search for the right processor led Shashwath and Sharan to eventually start their own silicon-on-chip design company. IIT Madras and its present director, Professor V. Kamakoti, played a key role in this journey.
We have a lot of links with the IIT Madras. Sharan is a PhD student under Professor Kamakoti.
This goes back to sometime around 2012 to 2014, that period. A group of people led by Professor Kamakoti at IIT Madras were looking to build an indigenous microprocessor. And at that point, Professor David Patterson, if you're an architecture student, you'll know him as the Patterson of Hennessy and Patterson, the architecture Bible textbook. His team at UC Berkeley, they were developing an instruction set architecture, which at that point was RISC-V. They had open sourced the ISA.
What is architecture? It's everything you have to know to get the program correct.
Shakti is an ecosystem of processors built using the open source RISC-V. The program was started as an academic initiative back in 2014 by the RISE lab at IIT Madras.
We need to have complete independence in designing processor systems that we could use for any of our use, both civilian and strategic.
So Shakti was born. After a certain critical point was breached, government funding came in and they were mandated to make not one microprocessor core, but a class of microprocessors core. This is the time I joined the team, the lab as a PhD student.
We were working together in the same company before. We were talking about what can we do next.
So we went to the professor and was like, sir, when can we get Shakti C class on silicon? He was still not yet director, associate dean, and we were in that associate dean's office and he was signing some paper. It's like branded into my mind, that scene. He was writing, listening, and he was like, it will come when you make it. And he goes back to signing stuff.
That's not enough, right? It's not enough to say you make it, you'll have it. So we were looking at it and we said, it's not possible because the amount of capital upfront that you require is crazy enormous. If you want all of the tools, you want all of the IP, building a chip of the kind that we're talking about could easily set you back tens of millions of dollars. So what do? Turns out that Professor had a plan for that. We got incubated under IIT Pravata Technologies Foundation and IIT Incubation so jointly. Pravata negotiated a license agreement for startups incubated under them to get some of these tooling and these IP at a discount. Basically, that took care of a large amount of capital requirements. And we arrived at 3 products addressed at 3 different segments of the market. The one thing that this industry requires is scale. The one thing that top tier VCs know, which nobody else can give you, is that scale. Basically, what we have raised right now is enough for our capital requirements to build one chip out of the 3 that we planned, take it to market.
So what we're doing here is, again, reiterating, we take the Shakti C class that is developed at IIT Madras and we are building all the funda around it, all the peripherals, the interconnection between these peripherals, plus or minus the GPU and so on. And we are then giving this to the customer.
The thing about semiconductors is, like Professor likes to tell us, it's a moonshot. Either the rocket goes to the moon or it blows up on the launch pad.